Good morning, friends. Christ's peace be with you. I'm sorry not to be with you today. I'm crook again. But on the bright side, I'm just back from 2 weeks holiday. So would you like to see some photos? By coincidence, I have some holiday snaps that also happen to link thematically with our Bible readings. What are the chances? Beth and I have just spent a week in Thredbo as part of an extended road trip between two family weddings. Our daughter Brenna's wedding in Brunswick and one weekend, and then her cousin Andrew's wedding in Canberra 2 weeks later. Thredbo is a ski resort in the Snowy Mountains, if you don't know where it is, and here's the view from our apartment balcony on our first day there. Green, bushy hillsides, blue, sunny skies, the kind of place that's good to visit in the spring and summer for bushwalking and photographic purposes. For this reflection today, I'm entitling this photo, Isaiah 65, the glorious new creation. Isaiah 65 is a hope-filled mountaintop vision of what might be. A dream of peace and justice, health and harmony, a soaring image of something fresh and new rising from what has been lost. In God's new creation, proclaims Isaiah, no more shall there be an infant that lives but a few days or an old person who does not live out a lifetime. The fullness of life will be enjoyed there. They shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall not labor in vain. Yes, there will be meaningful work and housing for all. They shall not hurt or destroy on all my holy mountain. Violence and trauma will be at an end. This will be the life lived in Jerusalem by the returned exiles, according to Isaiah. But these are more than immediate policies for health, housing, employment, environment, and law and order in the 5th century BCE promised land. They are that, but they are also a transcendent poetic prayer for all creation in every time and place. Transcendent, above and beyond what we know and experience, but still concrete, grounded in everyday life, a mountaintop vision to inspire our living. That's Isaiah 65, represented here by our first day in Thredbo. But this image is a bit misleading because while there were some wonderful sunny periods during our stay and we did get to walk on the grassy hillsides through the pristine bush along the surging streams in the sunshine, we also had other contrasting climatic conditions. It rained a lot. There was sleet and there was snow. Here's an image taken on the day we left. I'm calling it Luke 21, the last days. Yes, during our last days in Thredbo, it snowed constantly and the world was transformed. It was beautiful, but also it served as a reminder of the extremity of the times we are living in. We nearly didn't get to Thredbo because of the catastrophic floods cutting off so many roads, and if our week's prepaid accommodation there hadn't been non-refundable, we might not have made the effort. It was unsettling, like the words of Luke 21, a different kind of mountaintop vision of what is coming, one that contrasts starkly with Isaiah 65. Luke 21 is an apocalyptic vision. Jesus describes wars and insurrections. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. He speaks of extreme natural disasters, great earthquakes and famines and plagues, all of which will be accompanied by hatred, betrayal, and persecution. And doesn't that all sound depressingly familiar? It's like Jesus is describing what is going on in our world right now, from war in Ukraine to famine in Somalia to floods in Australia and the COVID-19 pandemic all around the world. Are these apocalyptic times? Are the last days upon us? Friends, I say yes. Yes, we are to interpret all the calamities that are befalling our world as apocalyptic signs of the biblical end times. But friends, it has ever been thus. The things that Jesus describes in Luke 21 all happen within the narrative of Luke and its sequel acts. The war, the famine, the persecution, the earthquakes, all Jesus's predictions come true. His prophecies come true. The first Christians heard their own experience described by Jesus, just as we do, and as has every generation of Christians in between. Because there have always been disasters, natural and human-made. Arguably, the calamities we're facing now are on a greater scale than any before in history, but the human experience is the same. The experience of grief and trauma and anxiety and despair is the same as it has always been. My body and my spirit are as vulnerable as bodies have always been. The need for hope and purpose and meaning is as real as it has always been. Luke 21 and Isaiah 65 both speak into that human need in starkly contrasting ways. Two mythic mountaintop visions, the myth of the new creation and the myth of the last days. I'm calling them myths, and I mean this in the most positive sense. They are stories exploring the truth of human experience, dreams to live by, visions with which not to predict the future, but to inhabit the present. So, friends, which of these visions, these images, resonates for you today? Which of them speaks to a receptive place in your heart? Are you ready to embrace the light and hope and peace of the new creation? Ready to live out its divine possibilities for life in our city? Ready to be caught up in its flow? Or do the harder apocalyptic images speak to you today? Do you need your faith to acknowledge pain and suffering right now? Do you need to hear that the struggles of this time, the struggles of your heart, the struggles of the world today, as in every other time in history, do not negate the loving purposes of God? Jesus is telling us that divine healing love is present even in and through the darkness of suffering and failure. He tells us this in Luke 21, and then he goes on to show us through death and resurrection. Is today a first day or a last day for you? Is it the birthing of the new or the dying of the old? Both are part of the religious experience. Both are places of hope. Both give rise to peace. Where are you today?